James Gunn's Superman has been out for quite a bit of time now, and after reflecting on the film for quite a bit of time, I can't say that I've actually liked the film more and more and more every time that I've watched it since it's been released. And I was not expecting this, especially with my first viewing of James Gunn's Superman. I liked it, but I had quite a few complaints on it. After watching it several times, a lot of those complaints I had prior were kind of explained away in the film, and also they were kind of nothing burger complaints. And I can say with confidence that after rewatching James Gunn's Superman for the 5th time in a row, I actually really like James Gunn's Superman. I actually even love it. Before I explain why I love James Gunn's Superman, let's kind of go back to what happened before this film was released. We had Henry Cavill as our previous Superman, and unfortunately, due to mismanagement with Warner Brothers and their DCEU being a complete mess from the beginning, it was not fair what they did to Henry Cavill at all. So I can see a lot of the anger that fans had going into this new Superman movie, especially since I myself became a Superman fan because of Henry Cavill, and also because of shows like the animated series. But one thing that they didn't get quite right with Henry Cavill's version of Superman is that they never truly made him Superman. And that's not good when you're establishing a new DC universe. When you establish a DC universe, you should establish them as the characters they are. But due to rush productions and hurrying to get to a Justice League movie, and I will say Snyder is at fault with some of what happened with Superman, because he didn't truly understand and comprehend Superman, and he wasn't particularly a Superman fan. They seem to be far more interested in creating Superman as a threat to the Earth more than establishing him as a symbol of hope, which again is not Superman. And they had an excellent setup for him to become Superman and Man of Steel, but after that point they never followed through with any of it. So we have James Gunn coming in and directing his own Superman movie and having a lot of fan animosity towards him already. It was already a tough task, and I can say that I think that he succeeded for the most part. Let's go through some of the topics that I want to discuss, and that is, why is he supposedly so weak in this film that people are saying all over the internet? This is not Superman. He gets beat up the entire movie. That is just not true. Yes, this movie is having Superman mostly at rock bottom throughout the entire thing, but that's because we've never seen Superman in a movie at this point where he struggles physically. Most Superman movies have Superman where he's on top of everything, and then something like kryptonite or another weakness will come in and be a problem for him later on. We're not used to seeing Superman throughout the entire movie having physical and also his own personal battles throughout the entire movie. It's the first Superman movie that truly does that, and I think it's kind of off-putting for a lot of us fans. And a lot of people kind of complain about the fact that he gets beat up a lot throughout the film. He seems a little bit less super than some of his comrades. Superman had the stronger threats throughout the entire movie. If you look at what happened, the beginning of the film, he got beat up because he was fighting a clone of himself, Ultraman. He was battling the kaiju. He technically had that under control, but he was hesitant on taking it out because he wanted to preserve the animal, preserve the creature, and not outright kill it.
This hide is tough, but it's off balance. I've been trying to figure out a way to get it out of here alive. Get it someplace where we can study it.
Oh, come on, man.
What? Go for its eyes!
If he wanted to kill the kaiju, he would have killed the kaiju. And Superman was also put out of commission when he was lured into a trap, with one of his known weaknesses being kryptonite.
I said don't talk to me! I told you! Don't talk to me!
Made by Metamorpho, which is something that he can do in the comics and has done in Justice League Unlimited. And again, he was struggling against the Engineer and Ultraman because Ultraman's being fed his moves by Lex Luthor, so he's fighting himself but with knowledge of his own skills. And the Engineer has a plan to basically suffocate him using nanites. All of these are things that would bother Superman, and it's not something random, and it doesn't make him less super that he's struggling. They make it known that he's very powerful and the most powerful being on the planet. Again, we're getting a film where we're actually getting to see him struggle, and a lot of people are against that. To me, I like it because in the animated series, you saw Superman struggle a lot of the time. It is fine for Superman to struggle, and I like the fact that this film went for that. The world that was established in this film was very comic booky, and I love that because the fact of the matter is that ever since The Dark Knight, we've always gotten comic book movies that are always either super dark and serious, or we just get outright movies that are trying to ground themselves too much in reality. And it's refreshing to see a film that is a little bit more bright, a little bit more sunny, and a little bit more comic booky. It's not afraid to go there to those crazy places that we're not used to seeing on the big screen.
Just my monkey bots here farming outrage 24/7, trashing you online.
Hashtag super shit.
An established world of superheroes. These are things that we've all wanted to see on screen, and all that we've wanted to see in these bright comic booky like settings, but we never got truly from DC because everything wanted to be dark and serious. And the tone's much lighter than a lot of superhero movies. If you really look back, again, The Dark Knight changed the game for superhero movies back then. Examples being The Amazing Spider-Man. When it rebooted, it tried to mimic The Dark Knight and be dark and gritty, but for characters like Spider-Man, that doesn't work. And for characters like Superman, dark and gritty is not always going to work for the character. Especially since he's a bright and sunny character and Batman's supposed to be dark like the night. Superman is Superman in this movie, and I cannot stress this enough. Zack Snyder, I really enjoyed what he did in Man of Steel. I thoroughly did, and I will still defend that to this day. But after that point, he was no longer Superman after that point. In this film, it's established that he is Superman. He's a younger, a little bit less experienced Superman who's experiencing his first losses ever as Superman. But he very much is Superman. He has the Clark Kent persona down. You can see how much of a kind individual he is, going out of his way to save everybody, even a squirrel. He has the essence, the symbol of hope that Superman is supposed to be. Something that was not truly established in the prior DC universe. But now that it's being established in this one, all of a sudden people have a problem with it. I can't see why people would have a problem with it with some of the humor that's thrown throughout the film. But come on, if you're saying that this is not the essence to the character, that he isn't this type of person where in the face of destruction, saving people, reassuring them that they're going to be fine, and holding his head high with a smile to people isn't Superman, you don't understand the character, unfortunately. With as many supporting characters that there are throughout the film, I was expecting the film to be a lot more sloppy than it actually turned out to be. Yes, there are things that I feel like they could have stretched out a bit more, and I bring that down to the running time of the film. I feel like the film is maybe 20 to 30 minutes too short to give fully established character development to all these characters, but all of them were integrated very well. They all had their established roles. The Engineer, Ultraman, they're meant to be there as physical threats to Superman that Lex is manipulating and planned out thoroughly by studying him. Lex Luthor is the threat. He is the villain of the film, played excellently by Nicholas Hoult, and he has nothing redeemable about him.
Let's try another question, Joey Superman.
Luther, don't do this.
Who raised you as a child?
I believe in you, Superman. No. Don't tell him
Which is refreshing to see from a comic book villain, because we've had so many comic book villains that we're like, oh, we understand why they're evil. Evil doesn't always have to be explained. Other characters like the Justice Gang played integral roles in establishing the DCU. Mr. Terrific was the standout in terms of one of the supporting characters, helping Superman escape the pocket dimension with Lois Lane and having a fantastic action sequence. all the characters in the Daily Planet basically all had a role in trying to salvage Superman's reputation and also exposing Lex Luthor for being the true monster he is to the public as well. The impact of Superman. You know how many TikToks and Instagram stories and how many just overall videos I've seen where people said after seeing Superman they've wanted to be a better person? That's the essence of Superman, man. Like, if you're looking at Superman and every media that he's been in, every character he's interacted with, he's made them want to be better people, be better heroes. One of my favorite examples being from the Justice League cartoon, where they had Batman openly admit that he's changed him as a hero, where he went from a hero of vengeance to being someone who can see justice in the light.
I've got some things to say. I should have said them when you were here, but despite our differences, I have nothing but respect for you. I hope you know that. You showed me that justice doesn't always have to come from the darkness.
This is the type of impact Superman should be having on characters around him and also people as individuals as well. When's the last time that we watched a Henry Cavill Superman movie and we're like smiling throughout the entire thing? I can't name many instances. So in conclusion, Superman is a true through and through comic book movie, and it doesn't do anything to really try and ground itself in realism. Is the humor a bit much at times? Yes. Does it do some of the things that we're familiar with in James Gunn films? Yes. But through and through, it's truly a passionate Superman movie and a comic book movie that's just meant to be a fun movie. And I don't know why so many people are just opposed to fun movies nowadays. I don't know if it's because we've been preconditioned by The Dark Knight or Man of Steel or some of the Zack Snyder films. I don't know. Because I never heard complaints like this from a lot of prior Marvel movies where they're saying, oh, too light or too campy when it came to the Guardians movies. I hope that one thing us as a fandom can agree on is the fact that DC seems to be having a more clear vision for the future, and with Man of Tomorrow being announced, it looks like the future for DC might very well be bright.